A $500 3D scanner that actually gives me results I can work with? A few weeks ago I would have laughed. Too expensive, too complicated, not worth it for hobby printing. That's how I saw 3D scanning until recently. Then Revopoint asked me to test the INSPIRE 2. And yes, this video is sponsored, but a single scanner with 2 different scan modes for $500, that got my attention. So I put it through weeks of real project because manufacturers can promise a lot. And along the way I finally understood why some scans fall apart and others just work. It started with a van. My friend Daniel is converting his camper. And when he pulls out the bench seat, the floor has these irregular recesses. He needs a flat surface to lay a carpet on top, so he asked me to print custom inserts. Normally I would grab my calipers and model it on the PC, but this shape? No chance. So I grabbed my INSPIRE 2 with the mobile kit, a grip with a built-in power bank that clips your phone in. With this you can scan on the go, no laptop needed, perfect for this project. But my first scan failed. The scanner just couldn't pick up some surface. Switching to dark object mode barely helped, so I had to figure out how a structured light scanner actually works. Picture this: you project stripes onto a flat wall. Straight lines. Put a ball in front of them, the stripes bend around it. And that's exactly what the scanner does. It projects an invisible infrared pattern and calculates the 3D shape from the distortion. So why didn't it work here? Dark surfaces swallow the infrared light, no return pattern. The scanner sees nothing. Luckily there's a simple fix: 3D scanning spray. Spray it on, scan again, works. But scanning all 4 recesses was just step 1. A 3D scanner gives you a cloud of millions of points. You just can't print that. It needs processing. Revopoint ships free software called Metro for PC or Mac. And the cool part is, it's also used on their much more expensive scanners. Powerful, but not hard to figure out. Logical layout, you just work from the left to the right through the steps. Tooltips explain here and there what to do. As a beginner, I got along fine. You can also edit the data right in the phone app, but I had to go into Blender anyway for this insert, so I moved to the PC. If you want the software steps in detail, just drop a comment. Covering it here would blow the video wide open. Bottom line, I got a printable model out, split it in the slicer to fit the print bed. Print it, back to the van. Moment of truth. It fits. Perfect fit. First project, first try. And that's when it clicked. And honestly, I felt a bit dumb for dismissing 3D scanning all these years. So I went right back to the studio, designed some tests to push the scanner to the limits. First test, my Prusa Core 1. The same setup as the van. Dark, smooth surface. Structured light fails as expected. But this time, scanning spray doesn't save me either. On the large uniform side panels, the scanner starts hallucinating. Parts shift, surfaces duplicate, the spray fixes the reflection issue. But the scanner can't orient itself on these uniform surfaces. No features to lock onto. And that's a fundamental problem with cheap structured light scanners. And here's where a feature kicks in that no other scanner in this price range has. The Revopoint INSPIRE 2 also has a laser mode, and it works completely different. Structured light uses the surface itself, shapes, edges, structures. Laser mode uses markers, small reflective dots you stick on or around the object. Cheap to get on Amazon, and you need a bunch. The INSPIRE 2 needs at least 6 in view at all the times. Once it's marked, you can start to scan. Laser mode works similar to structured light, but instead of the invisible infrared, it projects red laser lines onto the surface. The key difference? It orients on the markers, not on the surface, so dark or smooth doesn't matter. And as long as there are enough markers in view, the scanner works. Even on the dark Core 1 surface, it delivers. No scanning spray needed, a real advantage over structured light scanners. Another laser advantage is that it's much faster, at least in theory, up to 90 frames per second. Structured light runs under 20. In practice it didn't feel as dramatic as the numbers suggest, but on really large objects that gap matters. The built-in laser is a real win, massively expands what you can scan, and it's unheard of at this price. Laser scanners normally cost way more. But what about accuracy? Does the laser win there too? I wanted to know which mode should I pick when I need to reproduce a part perfectly, and what accuracy can you actually hit with a 3D scanner in practice. To find out, I grabbed 2 more test objects, each scanned in both structured light and laser mode. The first test is this frog, an old 3D print. I scan it, print the copy and compare it to the original. How well do the details carry over and how close is the replica to the original? For smaller objects at home, a turntable helps a lot. Revopoint ships one in the kit, but it's tiny. Not big enough for this frog, for example. So I printed a larger adapter plate, plus little marker towers. Models linked below. Now I can set the frog on the turntable without sticking markers on it and scan right away in laser mode. The towers raise the marker points into the 3D space, so they stay visible when I tilt the scanner to catch the frog from the sides. Works smoothly. I repeated the same scan in structured light mode. Markers aren't needed there, but they don't hurt. You can cut them out in post. When I put these two point clouds side by side, the difference becomes obvious. Laser mode has fewer points and less detail. On small detailed objects, laser hits its limits. You see it in the print as well. Details come out fuzzy. Structured light shows far more points, far more surface detail. One-to-one into the replica print. For objects like this, structured light wins. And handling is easier too. You don't have to keep markers in view the whole time. But visual reproduction is only one thing. For technical work, dimensional accuracy matters too. And I can't check that on the frog. So for test 2, I printed this calibration cube scaled up to 60mm per edge. It also has an internal structure to test how well the scanner reads depth. The workflow stays the same. I printed the cube and scanned in both modes, flipping it once since the button doesn't get captured. I then measured the scans digitally using the paid software Revomeasure and compared them to the caliper measurements of the actual cube. This isn't ideal, of course, since a 3D printed cube isn't a perfect reference, and measuring with calipers comes with a certain amount of uncertainty too. But it does give you a sense of the kind of accuracy I'm getting with both scan modes. But on the internal structure, laser struggled again. Especially when scanning from the side. You lose the turntable markers fast and the towers help, but they get in the way when the cube rotates. So it's very hard to capture the inside cleanly. Structured light, no markers needed and the inner structure came through. So this test shows clearly, neither mode is better than the other. Both have their strengths. Structured light is like a high-res photo, rich detail, and laser is more like calipers. Fewer points, but the distance are spot on. Quick note. These are rough numbers, not a scientific benchmark. Different objects, different results. And this is exactly why it's so great that the INSPIRE 2 has both modes on board. So did Revopoint finally make 3D scanning affordable and good? In my opinion, yes, but only if you're willing to put the work in. 3D scanning is nowhere near what you get with a Bambu 3D printer, for example. Filament in, button press, done. We are not there yet with 3D scanning. You have to understand the technology. You have to post-process. And that's what I learned these past weeks. And a $500 scanner has its limits as well. More expensive units use blue lasers and crossline patterns, way more precise and fast. Small black parts push the INSPIRE 2 red laser to its limits. You end up reaching for scanning spray anyway. But if you're willing to work with it, you get a surprisingly good result, surprisingly fast. I just had a blast with it. I keep using it and I'm hooked on 3D scanning now. And I probably test more scanners down the road. If you are looking for an entry into 3D scanning around the $500 mark, I can genuinely recommend the INSPIRE 2. And of course there's a link and a discount code in the description to make the decision easier for you. Thanks to Revopoint for the support. And one last question for you. Do you want more 3D scanning content? A tutorial, a Metro software deep dive? Drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching this far, for the sub, for the support, and see you in the next one.